Welcome to year 2 of Blowing the Doors Off. I'm your host, Ethan Gomberg. Tonight, I'm going to talk about vaccine distribution. Like my beard, the rollout has been untidy, working in some areas while failing miserably in others. We'll take a look at many of the country's shortcomings and what we could be doing better. The success of the vaccine rollout hinges on 3 sets of actors, each with different responsibilities. The pharmaceutical companies manufacturing the vaccines, the federal government coordinating their distribution, and state public health officials managing the process for people getting vaccinated. Think of it like the SAT. The Educational Testing Service makes the test, the College Board coordinates its distribution, and schools manage the process of taking the test. Both also have side effects of fatigue and sore arms. Now, the first group, the pharmaceutical companies, actually did their job incredibly well. The industry that was best known for the evil opioid makers at Purdue Pharma in 2019 made a complete turnaround in 2020 by making the vaccine in record time and saving the world. It's as if the White Walkers from Game of Thrones decided against killing everyone and instead dedicated their lives to fighting global warming. But Big Pharma's successful operation won't matter if people aren't taking the vaccine, which is where federal and state officials come in. Luckily, the Trump administration left Biden with a comprehensive plan to distribute the vaccines. Oh, I'm being informed that all Trump left Biden was a Xerox copy of his bare ass. And his butt was too big for the machine, so they had to make copies for each of his cheeks. I see. So Biden was left in a hole and had to start from the bottom up, puns intended. And as I said, the main job of the federal government is to allocate vaccines to the states. So it's up to the states to oversee the actual vaccinations. But there's been lots of disparities, not only between states, but between demographics. The data shows that the first wave of vaccines has favored the rich in many states. Places like Connecticut and DC have 70 and 100% higher vaccination rates for the wealthiest versus poorest areas. The exec of the Connecticut Health Foundation said, quote, "There really are 2 Connecticuts," end quote, which is true. There's Connecticut how you say it, and Connecticut how you spell it. Online reservation systems have also contributed to the disparities. People often have to call around 5 different healthcare centers to try and get on the vaccination list. And in parts of Florida, people have been instructed to use Eventbrite to book their appointments. One resident said, quote, "Registering via Eventbrite was a lot more like trying to get Springsteen tickets than trying to get a doctor's appointment," end quote. Luckily, vaccine-eligible folks and Springsteen fans are the same demographic. Massachusetts is taking a different approach, allowing those accompanying 75 and older residents to receive vaccines. So people have been posting on Craigslist offering money to older folks. Not sure if Craigslist population is the target demographic though. If they were really smart, they'd host a virtual bingo night and make the prize a free car ride. One person on Craigslist had the right idea though, saying this,
"I have a great driving record and a very clean Toyota Camry," said one person in an advertisement on Craigslist. "I can pay $100 cash as well. I am a friendly conversationalist and will allow you to choose the music and show me all the pictures of your grandkids."
I don't know what's creepier, the contents of the message or the fact that Siri is reporting it in that news segment. The message may well have just said, "I'm a Nigerian prince, drive a white van, and have lots of prunes." Now, this gets us to another major issue, which is how the vaccines are perceived. And as I'm sure you know, this isn't a recent problem. Take the story of an 18-year-old kid and his anti-vax parents.
In November, Lindenberger asked strangers on Reddit where he could go to get up to date with his shots. "My parents are kind of stupid," he wrote. "God knows how I'm still alive."
Excellent. You know that kid's getting a beating later. Underrated also is the fact that he turned to Reddit for advice and they came through. First this, then Wall Street Bets telling you to put all your savings in GameStop. Who needs parents when you have Reddit?
Lindenberger showed his parents scientific studies that showed vaccines were safe and effective.
And his parents responded by showing him a meme page and Bill Gates conspiracy theories. But it's not just crazy parents. Here's what Brazil's president said.
So if you become an alligator, it's your problem. If some women start to grow a beard, it's not going to be my fault.
Where is he coming up with these? Oh, he definitely just watched The Greatest Showman. These might seem like just some extreme examples, but this represents a larger issue across the country, and it's called vaccine hesitancy, and it's most prevalent in Black communities. Black Americans are getting vaccinated at lower rates than white Americans. And just like my beard is disproportionately spread across my face, COVID has disproportionately spread across minority populations. It's significant because those at a greater risk of getting COVID and becoming sick are not being vaccinated first. One survey found that Black Americans were less likely to say they would get a vaccine even if it was free and determined safe by the scientists. But the results fail to take into account why they are less likely. It's like if you surveyed ancient empires on their willingness to accept a gift from enemies. There's got to be a reason behind Troy being the bottom of the list. Unlike anti-vaxxers, Black Americans have a healthier skepticism due to the abuses that have targeted them in the past. Most notably were the Tuskegee experiments, where hundreds of Black men were told they were being treated for syphilis, when in fact they were actually being observed to see how the disease would progress. I mean, come on, that is evil, like Night King level evil, not Night King as an advocate for net zero carbon emissions. The final issue I'm going to cover is about ethics in the distribution process. I'll be the first to admit, I shouldn't be in charge of the ethical issues here. If it were up to me to decide who should be vaccinated first, I'd pick the cast of Grey's Anatomy because they're the ones on the front lines of this pandemic. But with high demand and limited supply for shots, one policymaker compared getting a vaccine to, quote, getting the golden ticket at Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, end quote. After hearing this, one person became particularly interested.
Oh, I want one of those!
They're not for sale.
Name your price.
She can't have one.
Who says I can't?
The man with a funny hat.
I want one! Give it to me! Now! I want the world!
To open.
The whole world!
To reopen.
To lock it all up in my pocket. It's my bar of chocolates. Give it to me now! I want a party with roomfuls of laughter. 10,000 tons of ice cream. And if I don't get the things I am after, I'm going to
steal the vaccine. Veruca, sweetie, you'll have to wait until all the Oompa Loompas are vaccinated. After all, they are essential workers. It's no surprise that there are ethical concerns with this vaccine rollout. And like a line of middle schoolers before lunch, there are definitely going to be cuts.
Some wealthy Americans are maneuvering to get the COVID vaccine before others. It's a look at how they're cutting the line and what's being done about it. Hey, Robert.
Marco Rubio spoke at several Trump super spreaders last month. Yesterday, he cut to the front of the line to get the vaccine.
I could use this time to expose every business executive or powerful person who jumped the line, but that would just be immature. But it's not just a handful of people. The media has come up with a new term for the practice.
Here's something that's happening all over the country. People standing in line at a pharmacy or vaccination site looking for leftover shots. NBC Bay Area Cheryl Hurd tells us about these vaccine hunters.
From the creators of Duck Dynasty and Storage Wars, we bring to you Vaccine Hunters, getting immunity by screwing over the community. Now, I've covered many of the roadblocks to herd immunity, and while it seems like a large task to overcome, one state in particular has been doing a good job.
West Virginia is topping the charts with one of the best per capita vaccine rates in the country. It's also near the top of the list of states administering a high rate of doses distributed to them.
I never thought I'd say this, but if only we could be a little more like West Virginia. That was weird. It's one of those sentences that just doesn't go together, like, I love getting spam calls about my car's extended warranty, or, boy, am I excited for my colonoscopy this week.
Our
our state is very unusual in that Walgreens and CVS are not nearly as well distributed across all of our state. Half of our pharmacies in West Virginia are independently owned. And we organized over 200 pharmacies in a network that could reach people not only in the population centers that we have, but in the rural communities as well.
There is more positive news as the federal government has reached deals to buy an extra 200 million doses of Pfizer and Moderna's COVID vaccines, securing enough doses to immunize almost every American. Dr. Fauci said that by April, it will be open season for all groups to receive shots, which is better than what we're currently in now, rich, bougie, white person season, also known as autumn. Getting to the 70% needed for herd immunity is much harder than we think. And I hate to spoil Veruca's party, but vaccine hesitancy, new variants, and the current pace means it is unlikely we will get there in 2021. And like my beard, the end can't come soon enough. Have a good night, everyone.